Welcome to the Look Good Move Well podcast.
Okay, everyone, welcome back. We're going to kick it off with a banter topic that I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah.
And if any of y'all followed along on social media, you probably know my obsession with yellow mustard.
Mm-hmm.
I love yellow mustard. It is one of my favorite condiments. Started way back in college when I learned that yellow mustard was... I mean, I liked the flavor, but then I was like, oh, this is basically like no calories. Like I can just like put this on anything and just like get some flavor and yeah. So anyway, I've come back to it in the last few years and I make a lot of different sauces and I use it in dressings. And I also do like, I'm not like a candy person. I don't eat a lot of candy, but every year on National Mustard Day, they do French's Mustards does like a collab with a brand. This year the collab was with Skittles. And so they made a mustard flavored Skittle. And this was right at a time where I was posting a lot about mustard and I got this it popped up and I was like, this is a joke. Like this is like I'm getting like I'm getting spammed here. This is not, it can't be real.
I sent it to you. I sent you a photo.
Well, like it popped up and like 100
like 100 people sent it to you.
A lot of people sent it to me. So I looked into it and it's like, oh, this is a real thing. And they're going to be making a limited run of this.
Yeah.
And you could like, there were like 500 people that they were going to ship them to. So you could sign up online. But the other way to get them was you had to be in Washington, D.C., New York City, or Atlanta, Georgia, on a specific day at a specific time, and it was like they were going to pull up. They had like a Volkswagen van, an old Volkswagen van, yellow one that had gotten like kind of kitted out and had like the Skittles logos and French's Mustard logo. Anyhow, I was not in any of those places, but I put out a message on social media. Hey, anybody going to be in these places? Please go and get me one. That would be awesome. And a lot of people said that they were going to try. Many people went and they struck out. And then one gentleman, a couple weeks after it happened, DM me, says, hey, I got one of these things for you. Where do I send it? And right now I'm kicking myself because I don't have his name off the top of my head.
Oh, we'll find it.
We will certainly find it. And so the mustard Skittle actually arrived, and it came in this cute little, this tiny cute bag, which is just enough for like, kind of like the fun size Skittle pack that you would like get on a Halloween night. And then there's these stickers in here. There's some stickers. This one says more tang for your tongue. And this one says just mustard Skittles. But we haven't tried them yet, and we're about to try them now. The big reveal. The sad thing is that they came, and there are no individual Skittles in here anymore. It is one blob of Skittles that have all been melted and mushed together. I don't know where that happened, but... And I'm kind of like, I kind of want to, we have scissors up here? I kind of want to like preserve the integrity of this package. Because
it's like a collector's item.
It's a collector's item. And we have some scissors and we're going to open it up. Here it goes.
You're the only person I know who buys mustard in 5-pound bags.
Yeah, the 5-pound tubs are very, very good. For 5 pounds on Amazon, you can get it for like $6. Okay, so here goes the sniff test. Oh man. There's not a lot of, it's not very appetizing to smell this. I'm like, oh, is this toxic? Wow. All right. Do you want to give it a little sniff snort? I mean, I don't even know if I smell anything that's like edible.
I think there is a whiff of mustard for sure in the smell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely smell mustard.
Okay. I'm like, that kind of made me gag a little bit. All right, well, let's pull out. I could probably count the number of Skittles that are here, but I'm not going to.
It's like a web of mitochondria.
This is, yeah. Yeah, well, let's do this. Oh no, here you go. It's been here for
Give Nate some.
Yeah, Nate, get over here. It's gonna be.
I'm not gonna eat this whole thing.
Oh come on.
Oh, come on. You want me to
It's
put this
maybe
whole
like
blob
2
in?
Skittles worth.
Okay. All right. I'll do it.
All right. Ready? Set. Oh man,
That is not something I'm gonna be craving.
there's nothing nice about that.
That's the worst.
Ooh, wow.
There is a little bit of sweet.
I feel a little bit of like the mustard kick.
Yeah. You can
But-
taste mustard, and you can taste sugar.
Yeah, the all I'm left with is just sugar.
It's like a pickly.
Yeah. There's a pickly, like vinegary aspect to it.
But yeah, definitely the first bites were like, first chews were very like almost like chemically like.
You can definitely tell like it was made in a factory where they injected chemicals. There's nothing like authentically, naturally mustard about it.
I mean,
I'm not even sure. Like, does this even have mustard in it?
It's like how they recreate Jelly Belly flavors of weird things, but that aren't actually the real thing.
Yeah, this is so interesting. Like, as I'm reading the ingredients, there's
Is there vinegar in there? Like, what do they put?
no mustard in it
Yeah.
at all. It's no vinegar. It's like citric acid, artificial flavors to like mimic a mustard. This was all a branding marketing thing. I mean, it looks beautiful. Like, this just makes me excited.
Yeah.
Like, but man, there was not a lot of mustard. So yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Thank you. I want to say his name is Steven, but we'll get to the bottom of that. And wow, thank you guys for rocking that with me.
You know what, though? I'm always happy to have a taste adventure.
Yeah.
That was an adventure. That's not something you get to try every day.
It's definitely not. And there's still a little left. Anybody wants to come by HQ and get a little nibble,
That's right.
hit us up. Okay. Well, maybe that's some viral content that we can put out. Because we're talking viral content. Oh, yeah. We're talking, I think this is going to capture a lot of, I don't know. We're going to go into several different topics, but I actually was speaking to a good friend of mine yesterday who's also in the online, direct to consumer business and selling physical goods, selling supplements. But, we were discussing the content world. And, how do you strike this balance between like education, virality, like pursuing virality versus pursuing best educational content?
Yep.
What's the thing that really moves the needle the most in the business? What are we learning from, like, what is the actual, and what does this tell us about like human behavior and what's happening in the world? Like, because, and like there are content creators that run, video editing companies, and their entire focus is like the brand name is like viral videos, or viral edits, or whatever. It's like their entire focus is on building viral content, kind of the Mr. Beast strategy, which was like, I'm just here to make videos that get people excited to watch them, like the pursuit of virality, which that's not to say that like viral content doesn't give value to people. It gives value in some way. It's just and then how do we even define that, I guess? Like viral is how many views something gets in a certain amount of time, or is it, like, I don't know. But it's a very tricky thing to navigate, and one that if you're in a direct consumer or an online, really any business, but certainly an online business, there's no question that, getting more people engaged in your content has the potential to really impact your business positively. It doesn't always mean that, like, just because you got 1 million views doesn't suddenly mean you have a solid business. But let's say you have a solid business in place, a good product, and you have, good customer service, and you actually solve someone's problems with your product, and then you, on top of that, layer in, one viral video every week for the next 20 weeks, and you grow your audience by 500,000 or 1 million, let's say, guess what? That's probably going to have a huge impact on what your business can produce. So long as, you don't bottleneck your service, you have the room to scale. Like if you're selling this great product, and then you get all these viral, you go on Shark Tank, you go completely nuclear in terms of awareness, and then you get all these orders coming in, you can't fulfill them because you didn't have enough inventory. That's a problem. But anyway, hopefully you get my meaning there. And where this is all coming from is that, about, I think it's 19 days ago or 17 days ago, I'm not sure the exact date, but, a piece of content that we made in my backyard, which was very just off the cuff, hey, let's try this. We didn't put a ton of thought into how we were going to script a message or a particular education point. It was just let's just try this. And it very, very unexpectedly blew up on YouTube Shorts, and it's now at 2.5 million views. It's one of our most engaged and commented on posts ever. It's driven, I think, at least 5,000 to 6,000 new subscribers to our channel. And but that video alone has actually gotten people to press the subscribe button, and additionally, it's just increase the number of views we've had on other videos as well. So it's been this kind of catalyst for, a little bit of a surge on this platform, which we can't say, and we could probably confidently say it hasn't turned into more customers right away, but those are people that are now engaged in what we're doing, and they're seeing more of our content that's coming out, and people are definitely going to engage with it. I'm seeing people post stories on Instagram of that concept that we showed in the video, and they're I'm trying out this thing that I saw in Marcus Philly, getting a great pump. They're experiencing it. This is all what we're after so often. Along with that, this particular video and why it went so particularly, viral, was that a massive amount of people hated it. Hated what I was saying, thought I was full of shit, thought I looked stupid, had plenty of bad things to say about my body, my hair, my knowledge, the concept that was wrong, that you shouldn't listen to this guy, he's an idiot. We can get into some of the more other stuff that was said, but it was a surge of negativity propelled this video into what people ended up seeing, which then led to a lot of people who are interested. There's both sides of the coins. There's people the negative people weren't subscribing. It was the people that were oh, this looks good, and yeah, if this guy sounds like he knows what he's talking about, I'm going to subscribe to him. So anyway, that was a huge lead in, but lots to unpack here for sure.
Yes. And I'd love to add some color on viral videos in general, because this is actually not the first time that we've had such a video that has taken off like that. And each one has had different impacts on our business and on our overall marketing. So I just wanted to fill in that there are some videos that we have made in the past that have reached over 2 million views that actually did lead to a surge of new orders and new customers, and also one that did not, and just led to a bump in social media growth. So it's not necessarily that the same thing happens every time when a video has that many views. And I think it's very interesting to sort of note how audience quality can really impact your business. If you're thinking about what's the impact on my revenue, just getting a bunch of haters on your video to help propel it is not necessarily translating into more customers for us. But the same, platform with a different video can. So the message really does matter. It's not just about did it go viral or not.
Yeah. And for the people that are listening who are not running a business and you don't use social media to like, spread a message that that hopefully, like you're just a consumer. What are some other, it's like, what are some lessons for people to take away from this too? It's like, how do you engage with content? I started to take some screenshots as they were coming in, like in the first little wave of like comments coming in. I was like, wow, like look at how aggressive some of these comments are. I screenshot them. I was posting them on Instagram story being like, can you believe like people are saying, like, it's kind of shocking to me. I mean, there's like an initial like gut punch of like, oh wow, people are like really not being kind to me. And it kind of bothers me a little bit. And then over time, it was like, oh, look at how ridiculous this is. Look at these things that people are saying. This is like, and then there's like, oh my gosh, this is like so hurtful. Like, why are people saying this? And it led to kind of an outpouring of like support and like, really positive DMs that I got because I was showcasing some of the negativity, and which then got me thinking like, gosh, I've gotten about 10 DMs that are like full, like people that are like fully expressing their gratitude for how far that they've come and how much they've transformed as a result of our programs or something that we've said or the message that we consistently bring. This person would have never wrote in had it not been for me being like, look at all this hate that's coming in. It's like they needed to see and perceive that like, oh, Marcus is getting shit on right now and he's feeling kind of down. I feel like I want to say something really, I want to add some positivity to this. And lo and behold, like messages come in. It's like, oh, well, wow. Why is that the sequence of events that happens for so many people?
Yeah. And also, I mean, the thing about a video that makes a big impact is that it has to make people feel something. So that's why cute animal videos can go viral, because they make people want to share them, because they make them feel good and happy. And humorous videos go viral because it sparks the emotion that you just have the impulse to like send that to 3 of your friends to make them smile too.
Yeah.
And on the flip side of that, controversy and sometimes negativity or strong statements also have that same impact. And so I think that there is just something to unpack about when you look at a video, and we're trying to sort of push our content sometimes in this direction so that we catch people's attention, which sometimes means that you have to say something that makes people stop in their tracks. And so that can be polarizing. And so then there are the people who immediately shit on it, and then there are the people that come out to defend it and defend you, and it gets everybody talking, and that's what propels the growth. Yep.
And sometimes that controversy or that polarizing message, it comes out in a way where in hindsight I've looked at it, and this happened a couple of times in the past month, where I've been like, yeah, now that that's out there and the responses have bubbled up and people are saying things, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right that that message lives out there, because that, I can say something like, the hook to this video is like true story. My biceps are sore 5 days after, I did this thing. Here's why. And, that's like, was it sore because I had done this thing 5 days ago? Was it sore because I did it 5 days ago and then 3 days after that I trained again? And like, I don't know, but my biceps were sore and I just said it, and it was like, there wasn't a lot of harm in that, because it's like, that was the message I put out there. Someone's like, man, if you're sore after 5 days, it doesn't mean you're doing anything right for yourself. And that was kind of the narrative that got kind of built up. But I wasn't like, oh man, I don't feel good about the fact that I had sore biceps 5 days later. I need to like, versus like saying something where I'm saying like, hey, you know, what's better, this way or your way? My way's better. Your way sucks. You know, like if it's said the wrong way, or if it's said in a way where like upon listening to it and seeing the final and then hearing like, hey man, like this hurt me. Like, I love you. I think you're great, but why you got to put down my shit? Like, ooh, like that wasn't the point. Like that doesn't, that was a way to kind of create controversy, but then it didn't land in a way that felt good. And so it's like, okay, let's rethink how that is going to live out there, and how we're going to do that next time, and how I want to say it next time. Yeah, it's like controversy to get people talking and to kind of create a buzz, versus like controversy that like makes somebody feel like they've been attacked, or that they more than just attacked, but like that it breaks the, you know, trust.
The trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, tell me more about where you sit in all of this, because I can think of several fitness influencers right off the bat where they don't care. Like they're just about getting views, and they view it as a win if those views help attract people who are ultimately going to buy their programs and end up liking them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can think of those people too. And I would say that in their eyes or in their minds, they're likely just so, they believe so deeply in what they're about. Like they're like, I'm just saying this, like, because this is what I'm all about, and like I don't want you if you're not into what I'm into. And because I think I think one thing that, I don't know if it separates me, but it's definitely ingrained into me, and it's part of who I am, is that like I'm in a perpetual state of curiosity. Like what I believe today might be different in a couple of years if my experience and or research kind of points me in a direction that's better, improved, and or suggests that that's not right. Like, and I've talked about it a lot recently. It's like our belief system is just, these are just beliefs that have been built up over our lifetime based upon whatever exposure, evidence, experience that we've had that tells us this is right. And then you don't really get to choose what your beliefs are. Like you're just kind of programmed by all the stuff that's been in your past. And then if you're curious and if you remain open to like, hey, let me just take in new information, let me go apply it, you have the ability to change your beliefs. So my beliefs around health and fitness have changed a number of times, you know, over the years. And so it's hard for me at any one point to like get up and be like, this is it. This is the thing, around something that's very controversial. You know, like even during my animal-based, you know, eating stint, like I was deeply curious. I wanted to learn more. I was consuming the information. I knew how to articulate that information in a way that could perhaps help somebody understand, like, what the hell are all these carnivore people talking about? Like, why are they eating liver? Like, what's the point? I was like, well, here are the points. Like, this is what they're saying. This is what it's doing. And this is what I'm experiencing. And this is how there's value in this. And then, you know, did I get to the end and be like, yeah, all that's crap? It's like, no, I got to the end and I was like, okay, there's value here, but it's not like I am so, you know, I'm so diehard animal based that like I will never let a seed oil touch my body or my kid's body, and I'll, you know, seek out seed oils in any Airbnb that I go to, and I will throw them in the trash can to save the planet. Like, no, I that's, the evidence just doesn't support that level of, you know, deep commitment to that thing. So I know I got a little away from what you're saying, but I find it hard to like, there's such few topics that I'm like, this is just so to my core and it's so against what you're saying. When those come up, I think I'm comfortable being very like divisive. Like, I will stand in front and be like, look, you need to get muscle on your body and you need to make it healthier. And the best way to do that is through lifting weights and doing cardio. And somebody's be like, fuck cardio, it's so stupid. You don't need to do cardio to look good. I'm like, you don't. You don't need to do cardio to look great. You don't need to do cardio to look lean. But it's the best way to build a healthy musculoskeletal system for the long term. It is. So do it. And if you think it's stupid, then this isn't the place for you. Like, you know, even though we have a lifting only program, like we're going to be talking cardio here. We're going to be talking getting steps in. We're going to be talking rucking. We're going to be talking doing zone 2. We're going to be doing mixed modal training where we're doing cardio and weights together. Like that's part of our belief system, my belief system, and it's rooted in a lot of evidence and support, and that's not likely changing anytime soon.
Yeah. I think it's hard when we're covering topics that are more in those gray areas in between, because if there's anybody who's responsible for, you know, our messaging ending up being off, you know, it's me, because I'm involved directly in the content and the messaging and even sometimes the words that we're speaking. So I guess it's helpful for me to like how can we together, you know, strike the right note around content that is educational and like has enough of our conviction behind it and is clear enough to get someone's attention and make them think differently.
Right. Yeah. Well, I like the, I think the, you know, and this is where kind of like making sure when we're kind of like playing at people's feelings and emotions, that's one side. And then there's like the data research side where it's like, well, I don't care how you feel about this thing. You know, you can feel very strongly, but it's not supported yet, or it's actually, the data doesn't support it at all. It actually points in the other direction. It's like, you know, somebody who's like, low carb is the only way to lose fat. It's like, it's a way, but it actually is not. And there's all of these examples where it's not. So that kind of polarizing to like stand up and be like, that's the only way to do it. Like, stop doing it any other way. Or like, hey, like intermittent fasting is the only way to go. Like breakfast is BS. Like you don't ever have to eat breakfast. It's like, okay, like you don't have to, but you certainly can and be really healthy and live a very good life, you know, and enjoy food before 1 o'clock. Like there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, it is a hard one to navigate for sure. And I think, you know, we can have like do our best to like have hey, this is our general guiding principle, but on a day-to-day basis, each piece of content has to be kind of evaluated. It's like, okay, how is this landing? And then you're like, oh, this thing's going to be good. Like I feel good about it. And then it actually gets out into the public and it's like, oh, it didn't feel so good.
Didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it could be didn't see that coming in a good way, didn't see that coming in a bad way. You know, sometimes you just don't know. It's kind of like this bicep curl, you know, video. It's like, whoa, didn't expect that.
Right.
Yeah.
As content creators, what do you want people to know as they're consuming content, like on the other side of it? Like, what do we know that they don't know? I have thoughts on this as well.
Well, most people that are making a lot of content it's supportive of a business underneath it. There's some way that they're likely monetizing that. Because making content is time consuming. It takes time. And unless somebody is independently wealthy and they just are retired, they don't have any, like, and they just really want to like give back their time in education or in content creation, like there's some reason. I mean, there's a motive behind it, which I don't want to say like some people do it right, some people do it wrong. It's like there's just different ways to do it. And I think as a consumer of content, you have to understand that if someone is putting something out there, the hope is probably that you're going to engage with it and then want to engage in the next piece and want to engage in the next piece and kind of be like slowly pulled into their ecosystem of content and resources that they put out. So any one piece of content is just part likely of a bigger set of content and information that a creator is trying to provide you, because nobody is, unless you've reached crazy high status in terms of views, engagement, or celebrity, you can't monetize a single post into anything that's going to create like a really good living for you. Like that's, I don't know, Kylie Jenner's type status where like, hey, this one post, they paid me $150,000 for. Like she's a unicorn. Like that's not happening for most people. It's like, hey, this post and the next 50 that we put out, are a process of, trying to bring in, 100 to 200 new eyeballs that want to engage in our program. Like, and that's a process. So anyhow, it's maybe that's one thing to think about as a consumer, is like, this is all part of a bigger objective, which is provide content that gives the customer value, enough value that they want to engage in the next piece of content. And then over the course of a period, however long they're engaged with you, there's ways to bring them further and further into your business ecosystem, where there's then an exchange for, money. It's like, we're giving out all this content for free. It's all free. Like you get to, you can watch it or you don't have to watch it. You can comment, you don't have to comment. You can like, you don't have to like. You get to decide, right? It's the ultimate testing ground of like, are you worth anyone's time? Mm-hmm. And if you are worth their time enough, eventually they decide, hey, I want to pay for a service that you offer, or I want to somehow exchange, more of my attention and time for something that you have to give. And that's how people are turning, the content creation into a living, into their livelihood. Yeah.
I think I'd add something about attention. So it didn't always used to be this way on social media, but more and more, it has been the case that with short form video, you have to do more things to catch people's attention. And so there's a whole layer of the value and the education that we're trying to provide. And then there has to be an additional layer on top just to get you to stop scrolling. So I think sometimes that's where some tension comes in on our part, because we're not trying to manipulate people. Mm-hmm. We're just trying to deliver our message, and we have to compete in an attention marketplace.
Yeah. There's the viewer behavior, and then there's also just the pure volume of stuff that's out there. 10 years ago, I don't have the data in front of me, but let's say there were 30% the number of creators out there that there are today. It's grown by, like, the number of actual people creating content has grown by 3 times, 5 times. I don't know. It's probably a lot. And then each person that's creating content is putting out more pieces of content each day. So, there were 1 million pieces of content a day 10 years ago. Now there's 100 million pieces of content that go up on all the platforms each day, and so there's just more stuff for people to view. There's more consumers. There's more people on social media looking at it. So that's also has to be factored in. But yeah, it is getting attention, retaining attention, and rewarding that attention with something that you've got that's great is it's definitely it's an obstacle, it's a challenge, and it's somewhat the game that content creators play.
Yeah. I think the other thing that I'd add, if I'm like putting myself in the shoes of like a fitness content consumer, is that really to not treat social media as your source of as your only source of information. Because I think a lot of people have knee-jerk reactions to the things that we're saying, that other companies are saying. And the truth is that in a 15 to 60-second video, we cannot convey all of the nuance on a particular topic.
Yeah.
So it's always wise to take the ideas that you can get exposed to on social media and be open to them, but take it one step further and take a minute to look into it.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And, I think that some of the most honest exchanges that are happening on social media are happening in DMs, are happening on stories.
Yeah.
It's like there's still really great ways to engage with people. And that's, a place that I like to try and, it's like, if I've gotten your attention through a piece of content and you come into, right, like the bicep video that we posted, okay, it did really well on Instagram too, and it got a lot of people engaged, and then some people maybe started following us, and then that person clicked on my story and they saw that I was posting some recipes, and then they hit me with a DM like, hey, how do you make that Ninja Creamy thing? And then I sent them to our, I sent them my recipe, and then I sent them the link to our blog where we have more recipes. Then they're on our website and they're checking out some stuff, and they're like, oh, there's a podcast, cool, what's on that podcast? And then this is the first podcast that they heard from us right now.
Right.
Like, holy shit, like look at the circle of this whole thing. It's like, I saw this bicep video, I clicked follow, checked the story, saw he made Ninja Creamy recipe, it looked good, pumpkin spice recipe, how do I make that in a DM? Marcus replies back with the recipe and thanks for following me, and go to this blog post, go to the blog post, cruise the website for a second, see that there's a podcast, click on the first episode that shows up. That episode, he's talking about this whole cycle. Holy smokes. Like this. And then from there, it's like, okay, hopefully you heard something here that was engaging. You listened to another podcast. Maybe you listened to the podcast about Energy Flux, which we just released last week. You're like, damn, I'm fluxing low. Like, how do I flux higher? Like, I want to do that. I want to be Michael Phelps, like I want to eat McDonald's 5 times a day and be shredded. No, I'm just kidding. That's not what we talked about. But, and then, that leads them to want to use our macro calculator. And then the macro calculator is like, okay, you got these new resources. We send you an email, helps you know about how to do the 50-gram protein challenge. And the 50-gram protein challenge, hey, I want to buy the ebook, or I want to hire the Persist Nutrition coach to help me do this. And then, oh, this training is fun. And it's got some of those bicep curl drop sets like that I saw in the video. And, hey, I think that's how. Whereas once upon a time, someone walked into my gym and they're like, hey, I live in the area and I want to get fit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, sick, let's do it. Do these air squats and this row and this sit-ups and let's go, Right. And then as we build a relationship, I teach them a lot of these things. Now it's like, no one's walking into our gym and being like, hey, can I hear you guys do Persist? It's like, no, they're on their phone. And I'm like, hey, pay attention.
Look at my biceps.
Look at my biceps. Look at my saggy boobs. Look at my hair that looks like I'm, Anyhow, I had pulled up a bunch of the mean tweets or the mean comments to read a few of them.
Okay, let's hear some.
How do the steroids for breakfast taste? ? Be honest. Veins like that do not exist unless you're on the juice or you're about to die from heart disease. And then let's go back. We'll do this one. No, these are all creatine. Oh, yeah, here. Oh, simple. Bros blasting. That means I'm taking steroids. The color of the kettlebells explains that hairdo.
What?
Yep. I'm lifting yellow, pink, and purple kettlebells, and I have a top knot, which this is a homophobic comment.
Okay.
Dumb advices from drug abusers. Announcement to natty guys. If you do this, not progress, but instead overtrain and increase your risk of injury. A lot of people were scared about this as to leading to elbow tendonitis, which I thought about a lot, and I was like, are your elbows so dysfunctional, and is your whole upper pulling chain so dysfunctional that doing 150 elbow flexions in one session is going to get you tendonitis. That's problematic. You are not a functional bodybuilder. You're a bodybuilder who is like a little bit of range of motion away from having major issues. Sorry to come back at you like that, bro. Okay, this one was really horrible. I posted this, but come on. Everyone has the right to do what they want with their hair. But when I see that sauerkraut on the top of your head, I imagine you perfecting your qigong like a prepubescent teenager in front of the mirror. I've been unsubscribing for a while because of this. I'm trying to get back on your channel, but this lack of masculinity and this ridiculous hairstyle doesn't make me want to be there. I'm sure I'm not the only one, because your skill and quality of your content, you could have 50 times as many subscribers.
Wow.
CJ, I don't even know
Like,
how to respond.
right?
Like, I just, that if, this is like, if there could be an expression of prejudice, racism, homophobia, like it just, and what you miss when you just cannot get past someone's visual appearance.
Yep.
It's like, I can't take you seriously because you're a woman. I can't take you seriously because you're black. I can't take you seriously because you have a top knot. I can't take you seriously because you have too many feminine characteristics and you're supposed to be a man. And I only take advice on how to get strong and build better hamstrings from a man. It's like, dude, you're so disgusting. And this whole concept is so disgusting in so many ways, but it's being just like put out there on the internet like, this is cool. It's cool to say. This is a good place for me to show my ignorance and my closed-mindedness, and it's fucked up.
Yeah.
So I'll just finish with this one. This workout involves one set of injecting steroids till failure. And we'll cut it there. I've got at least 100 more on here, but we don't need to go into them. But that's the kind of shit that is out there. It's pretty terrible.
Yep.
And it was me posting stuff like that people responded with lots of support, warmth, and love. So for every one negative comment, I think there's probably 50 to 100 of people with something positive to say. I want to highlight more of the positive things people say, but in reality, some of the negative stuff is what gets people to engage more because of that psychology of like, oh, this person's hurting. I want to reach out and say something kind. And not that I'm fishing for kindness. I just am more, not fishing, but I'm more trying to encourage people to use their positivity as a tool, because what's interesting is like the negative people are the ones that comment the most.
Yeah.
The positive people might double tap or they just don't say anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, how can we shift that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So 2 episodes where we've gone a little longer, but thank you for sticking with us. If you have follow-ups or comments to this particular topic, or curiosities about content, and
I'll pull back the whole curtain if y'all DM me, tell you what goes on in the content land. I'll talk content all day long, any day, with anyone.
all DMs go to Satya today.
No. But also send someone a positive DM just on anything.
Yeah, and next time you're watching a piece of content where there's something valuable that you got from it, just like, you know, throw a nice positive comment in the DM in the below.
Yeah. And you know what, actually the last time you posted on your story about, hey, take a moment to like say something positive to someone today, someone reached out to me and they said, I saw this on Marcus's story and I wanted to send you, Satya, a positive comment.
Yeah.
And that made my day.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Much love to you all.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
See ya.